MIDI controllers have peaked. We're at peak MIDI controller now. Your MIDI controller is pretty much the same as your printer. None of these companies are really doing anything innovative. That's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing MIDI controller reviews on the channel, was because I talked about them all. I walked in Guitar Center, I started going down the line. There's only like maybe one MIDI controller in there that I actually have not talked about. I'm talking hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel all about MIDI controllers. That's why I got off the hamster wheel when it came to MIDI controllers, because it's like, yo, these are all the same. Like the same keyboard that was in the M Audio Hammer 88 was the same keyboard that was in the Kurzweil KM88. The same keyboard that was in Arturia Keylab that cost $1,000. The exact same keyboard was in the Studio Logic that was $499. And then there was the exact same keyboard that was also in the Native Instruments S88 that was $1,200. There are some people that are paid for this kind of stuff, and there's a whole motivation around that. I know some YouTubers that are doing these reviews and they're getting paid like several $1,000s to do a review. And while that's good money for them, they're very disingenuous, as you know, to their audience, because they really are doing it for to get that check. That's the truth of the matter. That's how the game is really played. As a guy that's done hundreds of MIDI controller reviews on this channel, I can tell you for a fact, This video is sponsored by Loop Elements Pro. Make all your loops great again, and do it with 10% off at the checkout. Enter the coupon code that's down in the description and in the comment section. All right, let's get into this video. MIDI controllers have peaked. We're at peak MIDI controller now. If you don't know what that means, peak means that it's become a commodity now. Your MIDI controller is pretty much the same as your printer. It's pretty much the same like as your toothbrush, as your thing. It's just a thing. None of these companies are really doing anything innovative, right? So if I go back over here to Arturia, no, this is Novation, but still the same. They got chord mode. It has an arpeggiator built in. It has an octave. You got the Ableton style pads where you can launch. You got 8 faders. You got 8 knobs. You got a nice keyboard, right? Then you go over here to the Arturia. You got the same type of software. You get an Ableton. You're getting a couple of other little things. You got the 8 pads. 16 pads, of course. You get the 8 faders, the 8 knobs. You get chord mode, scale mode, so on and so forth. They're pretty much the same thing, albeit different look, different keyboard. Pick your flavor. Arturia does lean more on the premium side when it comes to MIDI controllers and feel. Their keys do feel. They use Fatar keyboards. They tend to feel a little bit better, even down to their smaller ones. They have a different type of keyboard. When the Essential series feels real good, they're not as clicky clacky. So they were good keyboards. Now they said that these are the same keyboards pretty much that's in these boards. They hadn't changed that. They added a couple of little new trinkets, and that's about it. And nothing that is probably really going to affect your workflow. I'm going to keep it honest with you and say what they really won't say. It's not going to really affect your workflow much outside of what any other MIDI controller is. So it boils down to which one is in your price range and which one has the feel that you like. As I've said before, as I stated here a second ago, MIDI controllers are peaked. There's nothing new. It's a commodity at this point. I'm not impressed. That's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing MIDI controller reviews on the channel, was because I talked about them all. For one, I had talked about every freaking MIDI controller that there was. I walked in Guitar Center and I was like, yo, I started going down the line. And even last night, I was in Guitar Center last night. I was going down the line, and there's only like maybe one MIDI controller in there, maybe one or two, maybe two, that I actually have not talked about. Maybe 2 controllers that I haven't said anything about on this channel. But all of the rest of them, I have covered them. I've done 6-month reviews on them. I'm talking hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel all about MIDI controllers. I became the MIDI controller guy in that area, right? Because I got out of the game because, one, I hated being I hated being a shield for what lack of a better words. I hated being the guy that they were sending this stuff to, and they were like, "Yo, can you?" And they want to control the narrative of how you talk about their product or whatever. So that's why I got off the hamster wheel when it came to MIDI controllers, because it's like, yo, these are all the same. Like when I found out that M Audio, like the same keybed that was in the M Audio Hammer 88 was the same keybed that was in the Kurzweil KM88 that came out. And then when I found out that the same keybed that was in the Arturia Keylab that cost $1,000, 88, that was the same keybed was also in the exact same keybed was in the Studio Logic that was $499, and then it was the exact same keybed that was also in the Native Instruments S88 that was $1,200. And I'm like, these are all the same. Like they all have the same thing: knobs, faders. They give you a little bit of softwares and trinkets. I hate to be like a Debbie Downer on it, because a lot of these things, but I think we've peaked. It's like the iPhone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the iPhone. Like, there's really not too much more they could do with the iPhone, bro. Like, let's keep it a buck. You can't tell which iPhone this is just by virtue of looking at it. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell. You don't know if this is a 12 Pro. You know it's a Pro because it's got the 3 cameras, but you don't know if it's a 12. You don't know if it's a 15. You don't know if it's a 14. You don't know if it's a 13, because for the last almost 5 years, the iPhone has looked the same. Like, it's not going to change. The only thing they're going to do is say that the camera is better than the other one. And that's about the only benefit you're going to get. They're going to tell you it's faster, but I'm like, yo, my phone, this is a 14 Pro. It's fast. Like, I'm not sitting here waiting on an app to open up. Like, it's fast. The same thing goes for MIDI controllers, boys and girls, because they're the same. No matter what you get, you're going to get the same thing pretty much. You're going to get, especially with like some of these budget ones, like the Arturias, the Novations, the Keylabs, the M Audio stuff. You're going to get some pads to play some drums on. You're going to get some faders to push it on. You're going to get some knobs to pan with. You're probably not going to use any of that stuff. Just keep it honest. You're going to use your mouse and your keyboard. You're probably not going to use any of that stuff. You're not going to, let me know in the comment section if you're actually that dude that just that actually uses a MIDI controller to actually control your software. And I'm talking about like you use it never worked for me. I never was that guy. I just used it to play some sounds in. I rarely ever mixed a song from a MIDI controller. Like, never was using those faders because they weren't motorized. I was never using faders to mix. If anything, I would use them in a live environment to blend layers. That's a different conversation. When we're talking about in studio with the MIDI controller, that wasn't it. It's not it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a trinket. You know what I'm saying? Arpeggiator, chord mode, scale mode are things that a lot of us don't use. Now, there are producers that legitimately that helps you, especially if you're a beginner and you're getting into it and you're trying to figure out like, what are you doing? And you don't know how to play and all of those things like that. That's a different conversation. But these guys like this, the Novations and the Arturias, I'm at a point where I'm just like, yo, pick one. Just pick one. Because I hate to be that guy, but that's one of the reasons why I got out of MIDI controller reviews, is because they don't offer anything special anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? They really don't. I could be totally off base, but I guarantee the only thing I'm getting different from this that I wouldn't get with the original Keylab or M Audio is maybe a different keybed feel, or maybe a different but they all kind of live in the same thing. It's like a printer. They're like printers now. It's like a coffee table. It's like a toothbrush. Like, Just find something that's in your budget and go get it. And that's my recommendation. If it's in your budget, go get it. And I'm talking from the guy for years, that was a stand for just about every one of these companies. M Audio, they would send me everything. And then I got to a point where I just started refusing stuff because I was like, number one, I hate doing these reviews like that because you have to try to hype it up because you want to make it exciting for your audience. Number one, I want you guys that are watching to feel like this is exciting, right? This is exciting. This new thing just came out. This is exciting. So I have to be excited about it. You know what I'm saying? And then I also have to be enthusiastic and be a good presenter so that the companies will call me back and give me the next board that comes out and give me the next thing and keep giving me free gear. That's how the game works. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know a lot of musicians and I'm sorry, not musicians, but YouTubers, there are some people that are paid for this kind of stuff, and there's a whole motivation around that. And I talk to YouTubers I know some YouTubers that are doing these reviews and they're getting paid like several $1,000s to do a review, on something. You know what I'm saying? And while that's good money for them, they're very disingenuous as, to their audience because they really are doing it for to get that check. You know what I'm saying? They're really doing that for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth of the matter. That's how the game is really played. But I never was paid for any of my MIDI controller reviews. I don't think I've ever been paid a dime. They always considered the gear the payment, which I guess you give me a 700, something that you would normally sell for $700, you give it to me for free. It's like you paid me $700 for that thing, which is cool. But it also, I never wanted to take money for it because I didn't want I always wanted to remain unobjective about my opinions about these things. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to do that. So my recommendation is these boards look cool. If you're in the space right now where you need a MIDI controller, like you actually need a MIDI controller, like you don't have one, or the one you have is a little busted and it's time to replace it, you can do a lot of research. But I'm gonna tell you, like, most of these boards are using the same technologies. They all integrate with the DAW. You can mix from them if you want to. You can play keys on them. You got scale mode on all of them. You can launch clips in Ableton from all of them. I don't even really need to investigate any deeper than that to tell you, as a certified, I'm not certified, but as a guy that's done hundreds of MIDI controller reviews on this channel, I can tell you for a fact it's not going to be much different than the previous year. It's just a new coat of paint, and it's the same thing repackaged in. So buy what's in your budget. That is the best advice I can give you if you need a MIDI controller right now. If you have a great MIDI controller that's working for you, that's doing the business for you, this is just a new toy. It's like the new iPhone. Does your iPhone work? Are you getting value out of it? Does your camera take good pictures? You don't need a new iPhone right now. But I would say this as totally unbiased. I don't have the boards in hand. I don't work for the companies. They hadn't paid me anything. I'm just telling you as a guy who has reviewed hundreds of these things. It's pretty much the same song and dance. I don't even have to watch all of the marketing to tell you that that's what it's about. So that's some value for you. I hope it helped you. I hope it blessed you. Hope it gave you some value.